Well, hello again. Welcome to day 9 of NaPoWriMo. Let me tell you something about writing a poem every day for 30 days now that you are 9 days in, if you are following along in real time of April 2021. And if not, all good. But doing anything every day for a while really builds a lot of momentum and discipline. I am doing these videos every day right along with you. So I just want to give you a little cheer and let's get into today's prompt. Today I have a poem that is a poem I found, or was rather introduced to by a friend. And I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end, but it is in this wonderful journal called Muzzle Mag. And here we go. This is called My Mother Voted for Donald Trump by Lily Starr. My mother voted for Donald Trump, but I still love her. My mother is not a feminist, but I still love her. My mother trims 19 horses' feet in July sun, and I still love her. My mother says my legs could be so shapely. I love her. My mother goes to a crystal healer to cleanse her chakras. I love her. My mother sits outside herself and analyzes the look of her double chin in photos. I love her. My mother is disappointed that I haven't had more boyfriends. I love her. She says I have to kiss a few frogs to find a prince. I love her. She puts blush on my young cheeks to lift my bones. I love her. My mother splits my body into categories: good, big, and not as good as it could be. I love her. I is too short for my mother's identity. She refers to herself in the third person. I love her. My mother comes home drunk and asks me to take her makeup off. I do. I love her. She tells me not to let my father see her like this. I love her. He already has. My mother loves her father, even though he's an asshole. I love her. She brings him crab cakes despite his gout. I love her. She tells me sometimes it is better to be kind than to be right. All right. So, just a quick note. I was given that poem when I asked for poems about forgiveness. I was leading a workshop with a friend on forgiveness. I'll share that at the end. But let's go ahead and, before I tell you my reactions to this poem, I want to allow you to have your own. By the way, I am really, really doing a lot of things right now. And you know what? I am still committing to the video a day. So here we go. Oopsies. It's supposed to say day 9. I told you from the beginning this was not going to be perfect. Okay. My Mother Voted for Donald Trump by Lily Starr is the poem we just read. And this first step, if you would like to take 5 minutes to free write after I read this writing mantra to get us in the zone, because even if we don't feel like we're in the writing zone, sometimes we can use language to invite a state of being or a state of mind. So that's what this mantra is for. If you'd like to just listen to it and hear it and feel it. I am here and present with my experiences. I am grounded and open. I have unlimited access to the infinite flow of creativity always around me. Whatever happens on these pages today is what's meant to happen. I'm not judging myself or my writing, I'm just writing. I have everything I need to begin already inside of me. I'm settling in and I'm ready to write. Okay, so today, this time, I'm going to ask you to do something a little challenging, maybe, maybe not. And again, you can always write to the prompt or disregard it and respond to whatever feels calling you today. But thinking about this poem we read, I invite you to think of someone or a group of people who has a perspective you disagree with, or they do things that you do not approve of, or you just can't get along or see eye to eye on something. So this might be someone that you know personally, and it can be a big issue, like beliefs about what life is, or small things, like, oh, they don't, close the toothpaste cap or something, right? So just thinking about things that either irk you about someone on a small level, or that like fundamentally upset you on a big level, or both. um, so free right into like, what is going on? Why do you disagree with this person? What are your reactions? What is your relationship to this person or group's thoughts, attitudes, or beliefs? And nobody's going to see this free, right? And so I want to just invite you to be as honest and unfiltered as you can with yourself, because unlike being in a room or a chat room with someone who you disagree with, you are not you don't need to fight anybody right now, so you just have some room to explore your own feelings and relationships. Okay, so go ahead and just free ride, give yourself room to roam, and I'll meet you back after you pause the video and for the next step. Okay, welcome back. The next step is now, once you have a few thoughts on the page, think about who this person, or again, it can be a group. So again, it can be like my brother, the neighbor, or it can be, um, you choose a group. So um, make a list of actions that this person does or that you imagine they do in their daily life. So this can be related or unrelated to your difference of opinion, but just thinking about this person as a human, what do they do in their life? And I just give the suggestion of 5 to 10 actions, which you can take or leave. Thinking about the poem, for example, my mother voted for Donald Trump, but here's this concrete action. My mother trims 19 horses' feet in July sun. So think about that level of concrete detail. What do you notice, observe, or imagine this person you disagree with doing in their life? Quick write for, just get it out on the page, and I'll meet you back here for step 3. Okay, next, make a list, same, hopefully weighted the same number. So if you did 10 for the last one, do 10 for this one if you can. This time, think about things you have in common with this person, or things you can both agree to be true. So if you have a fundamental disagreement, you can probably find some things you agree upon. If you are a living human, breathing, eating, sleeping, working, loving in this world, you probably have some things you can find to agree upon. Again, they can be small or large, like, oh, we both like, fried tofu or whatever. Oops. And so just do that, find some things, and meet me back. Okay, final step. This is kind of a short prompt. So here's the idea, is thinking about what you have jotted down, things you disagree with, why you disagree with this person or group, and then things you have in common. I'm interested to see if you can put those disagreements and the things in common into a poem in a way for you that might be interesting. So maybe you're drawing out the contrast between these things and thinking about constructions like that we saw in the poem. Person A does X, Y, or Z, but still, I love her, or we both, breathe oxygen, or whatever. So I'm personally interested, but you can take this in whatever direction you want. Again, thinking about how the poem we read paints a picture of the humanity of this person that the speaker fundamentally disagrees with when it comes to the Trump nightmare. So a lot of people, myself included, can relate to that. I'll say more, but what is the challenge here? How can we write a poem where we understand what the disagreements are intellectually, and we can still try and understand emotionally, or if you care to think about it this way spiritually. So this is just one way of thinking. It's not the only one. Of course, I'm not even going to get into the disclaimers. There's so many disclaimers, but just thinking about how do you resolve the tension in a poem between someone you disagree with? How can you learn from that disagreement? And this is not about being, you can choose. It could be about being right or wrong, but it might not be about that. And what can you really gain in your own personal experience of life from the tension that exists between you and this person or group? That's my cat behind me. That's Reiki. Say hi, Reiki. Okay. Um, so have fun with that. Dig in. This can be a juicy one. This can be one of those that we really peel back some layers of our own reactions to things. So let the poem guide you. Really, this could just be a launching point. I don't know any person in my circle who does not vehemently disagree with someone in the world about something right now. I mean, just earlier. Okay, anyway, how do we deal with these tensions? That's what I am inviting you to explore in the container of a poem. So, have fun with that. And if you want to chat a little more, come back when you are done. I don't have a lot to say this time, but I do want to. So, welcome back if you wrote the poem or just want to keep listening for a minute. What I do want to share is that I resonated so much with this poem because personally, the title is one I can relate to. Hi, Mom, if you're watching. I think it's really interesting the way that this poem is set up on the page, even with the white space in between the different phrases. And this is even one you can notice the pacing of, where the pacing, but I still love her, da 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 da, but I still love her, da 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 da, but I still love her, sort of in my reading, mimicking the thought process in somebody's head when it's like, well, this person who I love thinks this thing that I fundamentally disagree with, but I still love her. And that's, to me, I read this poem as a choice, you know. So I think that's interesting. And I don't know much about the poet, to be honest. I tried looking her up online, and all I found, I didn't find anything really other than her bio, which says that Lily Starr is an eager and passionate student of poetry from Cecil County, Maryland, who earned a BA in English from Washington College and is doing an MFA at Florida International University. So she's a writer out there getting her work published in these journals and writing poems that I resonated with. And shout out to Kiva Mitchell in my poetry community for sharing this poem with me when I was asking for a forgiveness poem. I was doing a forgiveness workshop with my wonderful healer friend, Laura, who runs Illuminate Life and does Theta healing, which I just did recently. Because there is so much tension and disagreement in the world, within our families and our society, even within ourselves, there's so much right now going on internally and externally, which is why I thought this is a poem that would be good to share and that has truly resonated with me. I'll put Laura's information in the description if anyone is interested in doing a Theta healing session. By the way, Theta healing is amazing. It gets you into the Theta brainwave state, which is, I mean, I don't actually know so much of the science. You can look it up, but there are lots of different brainwaves. Anyway, I am rambling. Okay. I think that's really all that I have to say at this point. I think it's very important for us as writers and poets to think deeply about how we respond to disagreements. And this poem is a political poem, but it's also not, right? How do we write about politics? How do we interact with people who we cannot understand their point of view? How do we do that? I don't have an answer for you. I'm with you in this boat right now, which is why this poem really resonated with me, especially the last lines. The mother who voted for Donald Trump, who the daughter disagrees with on that front, obviously. The last line is, speaking of the mother, she tells me sometimes it is better to be kind than to be right. So I know there's a lot to process and understand and feel and fight for and believe in and question all around us all the time. So I I hope this might be interesting and fruitful for you. And all right. If you want, by the way, I'll mention this, I guess, from time to time. I have a Patreon if you'd like to support these videos and my personal artistry and teaching. Um, I'm in a poetry therapy conference right now, which is why I am a little frazzled. But you know what? Showing up is important, and I am so happy to show up here to be with you across space and time and be with you in the space of poetry, writing. And thank you so much for joining. And always feel free to let me know how it's going. Okay, thank you. See you next time.